All right, everybody. So we are talking this morning about you are the cause of all of your results. So let me read this Ralph Waldo Emerson quote for you. It says, cause and effect, means and ends, seed and fruit cannot be severed, for the effect already belongs in the cause, and the end pre-exists in the means, the fruit in the seed. So Emerson has 7 core principles that he talks about, and one of them is actually what James Allen calls the law of laws. So it's this cause and effect, right? Input equals output. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, right? However, sometimes it's hard to admit that we might be the reason for our results, right? That the things that are showing up in our life are because of us. I think it's easy that when things are going really well, right? So things are going well at work, things are going well at home, your health is good, you're making money. When things are going well, it's easy to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm making all this happen, right? And then there's this subtle shift, a little nuance here that I find with a lot of my coaching clients, that when things are going rough, might be just in one of those areas, or it could be all of them, right? But for whatever reason, things are going rough in their life. We, as human beings, and I say we because I do this too, I got to catch myself, we tend to blame other people or other circumstances or events, right? So the one thing I know is that power only truly comes from being responsible for your freedom. I'm going to say that again, and I want you to write that down. Power only truly comes from being responsible for your freedom. So let me share a few examples with you. And these are all examples about me, basically. So when I was younger, before I had my stroke, so for those of you who are new to following us, I would encourage you to look at past podcasts and videos, and you'll hear my story of when I had a stroke when I was young. Before that, I was really into people pleasing, okay? Making everybody in my life happy. My boss, my kids, my husband, my in-laws, you name it. I was just trying to keep people happy. And you know what? That was not being responsible for my freedom. That was not saying, you know what kind of life do I want to live and how can I walk that out, right? That was being, I guess, responsible to everybody else in my life. Now, sometimes I find I ignore difficult conversations. Do you ever do that? Not necessarily to please people, but sometimes I think in my life these days it's more just because I don't have time for that, okay? But any time that I ignore a difficult conversation, whether it be maybe with one of my children or with my husband, or let's face it, sometimes with a friend, right? And it could be difficult for all kinds of reasons. Maybe I've noticed something in my friend and I feel led to say, hey man, I got to talk to you about this, right? Or it could be, maybe we're just like out of whack, out of balance in our relationship and I need to address that, right? But if I ignore that difficult conversation, I'm not being responsible for my freedom. And then, let's say, and this happens a lot, and I used to live this way, blaming your circumstances or your hereditary genes, right, for your health. That is not being responsible for your freedom. I'll give you a great example. So in my family, on both sides of the family, there is a large family history of having diabetes. Now, I've known this forever, and quite frankly, people in my life would just say, hey, Michelle, you're going to get it. It's just a matter of time, right? So family members would say that, doctors would say that. It's kind of hard when the people in authority in your life are telling you that, and then you read science that says it's all about your genes and it's just going to show up, right? And so when I had my 3 kids, for each pregnancy, I did end up getting gestational diabetes. We called our kids just the little sugar cubes that caused that. And then several years ago, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And sometimes you'll notice on the videos, if I don't wear a sweater, you'll notice a I guess it's a sugar checker. That's what I call it. And then an insulin pump. However, here's the thing that I've learned over time. Yes, of course, I've been under a doctor's care, but I can tell you this. The more that I focus on my responsibility to myself and to becoming well and as healthy as possible, not just healthy in body, but definitely healthy in mind and healthy in spirit and healthy in soul, right? The more I focus on that, guess what? My numbers are doing great. I'm actually, I think 97% in the target zone, which is actually better than some people who have never been diagnosed with diabetes. Now, why do I tell you that? Because we look at that sometimes and we say, oh yes, family history. Oh yes, your genes, my mom used to say, hey, listen, we just come from the shallow end of the gene pool. Well, gee, that's a great thing to tell your kids, isn't it? And so that's a great example of how, we might have been told things in our life, or we might have accepted a belief, or we might just have these patterns, habits that have worked for us in the past, or we think they work for us, right? When in reality, it's keeping us from being responsible with our freedom. There are things that I can do to take care of myself, and I'm enjoying doing those things. I'm enjoying putting good nutrition in my body. I'm enjoying going for walks as much as I can. I'm really even enjoying lifting weights. So I'm being responsible for my freedom. I don't have to blame others for my health. So as I'm kind of wrapping this up, there's a statement that I read. I don't remember where I read it, and gosh, it's got to be years ago. It says, I am the problem and I am the answer. And I'd like you to write that down today. I am the problem, okay? And I am the answer. So here's what I find is that when I'm working with coaching clients, we got to spend apparently a good deal of time arguing about the first part of that statement, I am the problem, okay? What I find is that when you stop fighting that idea that you are the problem, when you start or stop to deny or ignore that, all of a sudden the second part, the I am the answer part, becomes powerful. So you can deny that you are the cause of everything that's happening in your life, or you can accept that and say, and now what? Okay? So stop fighting that idea that you are the problem. All right, if you want to know more about this and more about how you think really changes your life and how you can really rein in some of those thoughts, we are doing a live teaching call on Tuesday, so July 14th. We are talking about the self-image. I'm going to share with you some key principles that you need to know about how you look at you and how you can change yourself from being the problem to being the answer. So join us. I'll put all that information in the details, description, comments, and we would love to have you on the call with us. Awesome. Hey, have a great day. Get outside, enjoy the sun if you can, and just go out and make it a beautiful day, not only for you, but for others as well. So with that, I release you into the wild. Go forth and prosper. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you next time. All right. Bye-bye.